a problem that has been around in the past has reared its head recently. We've done 1 or 2 repairs for end users, and inevitably some handhelds have come in for repair, and that's fine. People want to go out walking and having a bit of a chat on the hillside, and hopefully away from the 19 burner brigade. The problem is that these radios are at 12 volts, so if you take them out in the field, as we should all know, these type of things, and I'm showing the Moonraker MAster just as an example, a lot of the high-end hand portables were like this. At the moment we seem to have got those over-compact ones with the over-compact aerials, so the days of really good range really can only be attained with sets such as this. So it's 10 slots. I've covered this loads of times. You either put 10 rechargeable batteries in, 10 times 1.2 volts equals 12 volts, or you put 8 throwaway batteries, alkaline batteries, and 2 dummy batteries. These radios came supplied with 2 dummy batteries. You pop them in, and then 8 AA's at 1.5 volts also equal 12. Now, if you inadvertently put 10 AA alkaline batteries in, you'd have 15 volts, you'd destroy the radio, and that's quite clear in the instructions. And it's also quite clear to me as an engineer when sets come in and that's happened to them. So this must be 10 rechargeables or 8 AA's. Dummy batteries are readily available on eBay, for example. So if you're wanting to charge those in the set, you're going to need the original type of charger, which would be 50 milliamps at 18 volts. And remember, you're expecting to be using nickel cadmium batteries, and of course it's nickel metal hydride that's now on the market, so you can't really charge them in the set. I can't think of a way of doing that really and monitoring it, unless you really are trickle charging it and got your stopwatch to it. So really, if you're going to power the set from home, and some people want to do that, especially with the realistics where you've got the external mic and you can use them as a base station more readily, but people want to plonk these down and have them on their favourite channel and not be running the batteries down, and I can understand that. So how do we run it? Well, of course, when we've been doing the service on these, as often as not, we've popped crocodile clips onto the battery terminals, and we've set the power supply for 12 volts. We've never exceeded 12.4 when we do these kind of sets. So what can you plug it on? We can't plug your 13.8 volt normal CB power supply in, because it will destroy the radio. If you're clever with a soldering iron, you can put 3 1N4001 diodes, 1 amp rectifier diodes in series, and that will drop for 1.2 volts, which might be sufficient to be okay. And that's what Tandy's did with their car charger, car power supply. It wasn't a charge, it was solely a power supply. For their realistic 1001, you could buy the vehicle adapter, which was a cigarette lighter plug to the lead for the radio, and in that cigarette lighter were either 3 or 5 rectifier diodes to drop that voltage a bit, as in the way I've said. So short of modifying a normal CB power supply, I thought, well, what about some of these mains adapters? And one of these came in recently with a 300 milliamp unregulated one of these mains adapters, which is no earthly good because it's going to be about 18 volts off load. So I bought this on eBay for £9.99, and it's a Billy No Mates. The Union Jacks, it means UK version, doesn't mean it was made here. And I've not opened this yet. And one of the beauties of this, it comes with a different set of plugs, because some of these sets are 3.5. The Harvards are a 2.5mm socket. I don't even know if that's included. Some of these are the 2.1mm coaxial type sockets, like this one is. The realistics are, and the positive and negative varies between them. And what we've done when we've had to use these type of power supplies with things, we've actually glued the connector onto the end, the correct polarity, because what you don't want to happen is for the polarity to change and then you destroy the product. So let's see what we get for our £9.99. because could be a cheap way out of it if it works. And this is going to be a stupidly elaborate test. I can't read this. La-di-da-di-da-di-da, right polarity. Right. So, as you expect, we're going to get a wall wart. And I wonder if we've got a security bit set so I can go inside that. But right now, I'm watching the clock. I've actually got to go and practice the organ at a church for a service that's actually at a church tomorrow. Wow. I'll have forgotten what the inside of a church looks like. So as it's come, it's set at 9 volts. This will go up to 24, so this is important. So we're going to adjust that to 12. And it says here it's at 12 volts. It'll do 1.5 amps. What did it say on the box? Yeah, it says the same. And the plug kit does indeed come with a 2.5mm one. And that's absolutely fantastic, because it's quite unusual on those Harvard Harrier and ALBA 40-channel walkie-talkies from 1981, so that fits. So this is polarized. It says positive and negative. So what I'm going to do, I'll just plug that into our power supply. It's a bit heftier wire on it as well than some, so it's possible that it's true. Now then, how are we going to plug this in? I've always got a problem plugging things in here. So unplug the monitor, so I now can't see what I'm telling you. Right, from now on we assume that things are in camera shot, and I won't touch the camera. So we'll get the trusty little multimeter out, or was it Aldi? And it says positive and negative. So theoretically, if I put the black probe into negative and the red probe into positive, we should have a positive voltage, and we've got 12. We have 12 point whatever until the prods fell out. There we go. So it really is. It does what it says on the tin. So this radio says it's positive centre. It's important to look at these, and it clearly indicates the positive is the centre, the negative is the outer, because it can be the other way around, and the realistics may be one of those that are. I don't quite remember, and I'm not going to look at the service manual right this second. So we need to select the appropriate plug. I think it's going to be that one. Unless it's that one. No, it's not that one. Okay. So it says on here positive centre is this way round. If we turn it round, negative centre. So we want it positive centre. And the arrows need to mate up. And we would glue these into position, because we do not want to get these coming out, as they can do. And we're now going to check with the meter that it really is. and it really is. So that's proof so far. So if I now plug that into there, the radio is lit up. And hopefully when I go into transmit, we haven't got an almighty hum. Yep, that's working. Right, we'll get our radio we're using as a monitor receiver at the moment, which is Midland 42 multi. So we're into the dummy load on the test instrument. Testing 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 3 2 1 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 3 2 1. I think what we're going to have to do is to put the camcorder on the base station, and we'll have to edit this together. The camcorder is a different format, which makes editing interesting. So far so good. Now I'm going to have to think of a way of being able to put this monitor back on, because I want to actually test the output of this into our programmable electronic load to make sure it really does do the 1 amp. I think these radios draw about 800 milliamps, 650 to 800, so you need to be having a bit to spare. It's like with the CB radio power supplies in general, you know, you'd have the 3 to 5 amps. You've got to take that with a pinch of salt, because to be honest, they're not going to give more than, those 3 to 5 amp ones aren't going to really give more than 2.5 amps. And most of the UK CB radios from the 1980s, they don't go over 1.4 amps. But some of the newer ones with CPU control are drawing up to 2 amps, so they're still well within. But all this 3 to 5, you've got to take it really with a pinch of salt. It's half of it's bull and the other half of it is Sierra Hotel 1 Tango. Like compressor outputs and audio outputs at hi-fi dealers or lo-fi dealers. I'm going to pause the video and we'll find a way of plugging in the monitor. Right, I've actually plugged an extension lead into another room and brought it round. So I'm going to use, if the lead will reach, only just, our electronic load. So we're going to set this. It's currently set for 0.1 of an amp, and I'm going to hold the wires, because I'm not going to be able to do it any other way, onto this mains adapter, and I want to see when it starts to lose regulation. Theoretically it says it will deliver 1.2 amps. Well, I can't see any reason why I can't hold these on, because it's only 12 volts. That was reverse polarity. See how clever I am? So the machine says that. So if I now press load, so it's not a problem whatsoever with that. Let's change it to 500 milliamps. Let's turn it up to 500 milliamps. So we're now starting to lose some regulation. Now most of these radios draw 600 milliamps. So 11.93. On a bad day these will draw 800 milliamps. 11.9. And let's see whether it'll do the 1200 milliamps they say it will do. And it will. 11.8. So let's see when it starts to lose its regulation, or below 12 volts. So that's 300 milliamps. So these radios on receive are about 80 milliamps. On transmit, so they're about 600 milliamps, and depending on your SWR, to about 800 milliamps, in all fairness. So 11.9. So that's all right. Thought we'd do a proper test, you see, like that, to make sure it actually did what it says. Right, that can go back to Tango Tower's instrument cupboard. So I've been messing about with this for 5 minutes, and there's no warmth whatsoever, so that's a good sign. You know, if it had been getting hot with that little bit of transmit and that little bit on the electronic load, then I could just feel a bit of over ambient temperature. Right, we'll open up the audio little security bit set kit, and is that the... No, that's not the one. Right, I'll just see which one it is. It's a bit big, this one, but it's the one with 3. We could have done with a size smaller, but there you go. How long are these screws? That long. I can't see any screws elsewhere. Okay. So predictably it's switch mode. Oh, you get a key with it to do the voltage. The capacitor's 105 degrees, and in an enclosed thing like this, I'm glad they are. So, things I can see immediately could be a snag. That capacitor there is very close to that heatsink, which is going to get hot. And I say we've had that 1 amp load on, and it's not really... I'll just move that away slightly as best I can. Yeah, so it's kind of what you expect, isn't it, for a switch mode power supply? I'm not a lover of switch mode power supplies, but it's £9.99, and we've tested it and it works. So when I went to put that instrument back in the cupboard, there was the phone ringing. So I hurriedly put it down on the floor, and then when I got to the phone, it stopped ringing. Then I did 1471 to see you were called at such and such a time. The caller withheld their number. Do you know what? I reckon... Do you think the police are after me and there's a warrant for my arrest? Or do you think I've bought an iPad off Amazon and they're just checking that I really have ordered it? Or do you think my subscription, which I don't have, to Amazon Prime is up for renewal for £39? I wonder. I reckon I've missed out on a really important call. Or there could be somebody in a faraway country who's lost a relative in a car crash and doesn't know how to distribute the millions of pounds that they've embezzled, and they need some help. Right, so that's back together. Yeah, so that works. And it's nice to, you know, it's cheap. And it works. So what we'll now do is I'll get the camcorder set up, and that's on the roof aerial. We'll plug this into that power supply, and I'll talk to our base station just like we do when Mr. Chippy's done an on-the-air test, and we'll see whether there's a hum introduced with this power supply. So I'll plug it back in, just like that. Switch on, and we'll go to channel 31 so I don't have to bother messing with the base station. And I better put that back on Mr. Chippy's shelf or he'll get cross. Right, I'll see you on the camcorder.
Tango 21, testing our demonstration Moonraker MAster and portable. This demonstration is testing a 12-volt universal power supply. This is on a 12-volt universal 1.2 amp power supply, and what we're testing for is hum on transmission. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And thank you for watching.